Whoa, 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 whoa. Last one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Last one. All right. Oh my goodness. This has been a journey. We are on our last principle of the 13 principles on how we treat each other. Principle number 13. Before I can say it, I want to know, let me know down at the bottom if you can tell me before I tell you what it is. And I'm gonna, do my little thing. And as I do that, catch up our people, because look, people are coming in new every day. Catch them up, and then you let me know down below, what do you think this principle is? Hi everyone, I am Dr. Bernita, founder and CEO of Glen White Global Solutions, home of Empowered Educators Academy, where we are on a mission to 1, raise the vibration of the education profession, 2, transform the learning experience of 1 billion students, yes, billion with a B, and heal the nation through education. That's number 3. How do we plan on doing that? By starting right here, building a foundation of how we treat each other. These are 13 principles that I've learned over time. I use in workshops and classrooms, and I will say this, either you do all 13, pick and choose which ones you want to do, change the name of them. The whole point of this is to build guidelines within your conversations, in your workshops, your classrooms, your meetings, at home, because you can use these principles in your personal life as well as your professional life. But go into any type of conversation, especially if it's going to cause some tension. And tension isn't always bad. It's just how we deal with it. But you want to give yourself guidelines on how to have those conversations. So it's just like bowling. If you know anything about bowling, if you aren't a great bowler, you put those things down, the bumper rails, so that way when you take the ball down there at full speed, and if it wobbles to the left or to the right, it's not going to go into the gutter, because it has those guardrails there, and to continue down the lane, because your end goal is to knock out the pins. Same thing with the guidelines and the norms. If everyone understands these are the rules, or I don't want to say rules, I like guidelines, because if you break a rule, it's like you're being punished. But same within the guidelines, the bumper rails of the conversation, so that way if somebody looks like they're going to the left or to the right a little bit, you can point them back to, hey, remember these norms, you agreed upon them, and let's make sure we stay focused, because we have an end goal that we want to meet. We all came to meet for a solution, a resolution, or dig deeper into the root cause of something. And the only way we can do that is if we have these norms or guidelines, right? So let me know which ones have resonated with you, which ones are you still working on, need more practice with. Have you tried any of them with your team? I want to know all of that. And like, I'm stalling because I'm waiting to see if someone puts it up there. I don't see the right one yet. And replay, I don't know if I want you to play when you come back. So you don't, because you don't get to see the title. So no, replay people. But number 13, drum roll, maintain confidentiality. Right? Mind blowing. You probably weren't expecting that. Yes, close your mouth. What goes on in the meeting stays inside of the meeting. What goes on at the training or workshop, especially if you get to the point where people are really sharing. And a lot of this happens in diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings and anti-racism workshops. Those are like big ones, I'm pretty sure. Those are the ones I've been a part of, to where I really had to use these norms. Or anytime you want to get people to talk about something that you know is going to be uncomfortable. If you are anything that has to deal with politics or anything like that, you want to set up some norms, and in your personal lives as well. But maintaining confidentiality, and I'm not talking about the kind like Vegas, like what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, because that's not always true. Like, Vegas be leaking out secrets, okay? I'm talking about if I'm opening up and I'm sharing something with you. I do this exercise about uncovering your invisible, like, what do people need to know about you, or what should people know about you to cause you to respond or react a certain way. And there are a lot of hidden things that we don't realize that people are carrying with them. I don't expect for someone who hasn't been in that workshop or been engaged in this environment or this community to know what happens on the inside. If you have a friend or a colleague that wasn't invited, then you don't get to share what happened in there, because you're breaking the trust of the people who were vulnerable enough to open up and share. Or you don't get to say, hey, this person over here said that they really didn't like Black people, and maybe that person said it at the beginning, but as the work, and I'm only speaking like thinking of a certain example from a workshop. Maybe they said that, but by the end of the workshop, we've uncovered a lot of the reasons, and we got to the root of that. So now the person is good and more open than they were when they started. But if you go out and tell someone without all the background, without all of the information, then you started this domino effect and you betrayed the trust of your group members. Now you have people looking at this person and potentially treating them like an outcast, all because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. Now, I'm not talking about maintain confidentiality where something may cause someone harm if they said something in a meeting, if they're having suicidal thoughts or being abused or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But I will say, especially if you're dealing with adults, you can say, I am concerned and I may need to say something, if it's something like that. But if we're talking about issues that aren't causing harm like that or harm to children, then be quiet. This is the reason why we can never move forward, is because it's like playing telephone, and then by the time it gets to the third, fourth, 15th person, the message is all misconstrued. It never works how it's supposed to work. So to avoid all of that, maintain confidentiality. If you are not part of the admin team, when the admin is talking about what they're talking about, you don't get to go tell your friend who's the teacher because they're not on the admin team. This is not the time to entertain FOMO, fear of missing out. You just miss out because we've created this bond, this trust. We have these bumper rails and you're just not invited. It's nothing against the person who didn't get invited, but that's just the way it has to be, especially when we're trying to get some things done. Now, if the person feels like they need to be part of the group, then they pick up where the group left off, but then everyone needs to agree, and then they start off with the norms the same way. But just be quiet. You don't have to share everything. Write it down on a piece of paper and throw it away. If you feel like you just have to get it out. I don't know if you watch Living Single, but there was an episode with Regine. Now, Regine played by, I think, Kim Fields or Kim Friedman. Kim Fields, yeah. She talked and gossiped all the time. That is what she was known for. But one particular episode, she was on the jury of this elderly lady who was on trial for arson. And she couldn't tell her friends that she was on the trial for this particular case. So she was the only one who believed that the older lady was guilty. And everyone else was like, no, not the older lady. And then when Regine got home, her friends were like, oh my gosh, what idiot juror is holding up the case? Like, we all know that, Mrs. Quincy, whatever her name was, couldn't do it because she played a certain character on the TV shows. So eventually Regine blurts out, I'm the idiot juror who's holding up the case. So Max, who's a lawyer, she was like, are you serious? Are you really telling us and discussing the case, and you know that I'm an officer of the court or the officer of the law? However the case is with the lawyers, they have a duty to uphold the law. Like, you can't be on the jury and spilling out information. So Regine gets sentenced to a Montessori, a place with the monks, and she has to take a vow of silence. She talked so much that she talked to the monk and asked him for a date. And she realized, like, oh my gosh, I cannot keep my mouth shut. So then the whole show keeps going, and everyone jumps in on raging like how much she talks so much. And then she started spilling the beans about everybody else because she was like, this is what I do. Now, while that was entertaining, that is not what needs to happen in these meetings. You are not the town crier. You don't go back to report people, because think about it. If you share something, if you were true to the norms, or if you were true to the exercises, or if you were true to really going to the meeting to seek a resolution and a solution, you shared information that you wouldn't want to get out. Now, I'm not talking about you go tell all your business from what you did in college and all of that, unless it's related. Of course, you share at your level of comfort, but regardless, you've been placed into a situation where people have shared, you have shared, and you have to maintain confidentiality, all right? That is huge, 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 huge. All of those principles led up to keep your mouth closed, maintain confidentiality, you know, like I said, within reason. You know, we don't want people going around causing harm to themselves or to other people. All right, happy dance, happy dance. Whew. That is our last principle. Oh my gosh, that is our last one. I feel so sad, but you will see me again. These are the 13 principles on how we treat each other. Again, you can adapt them, adopt them, use them all, don't use them. But I ask, have some kind of norms or guidelines for the next time you're going to engage in a meeting. And if you start with the lighter meetings, the more challenging meetings will be a lot better, because everyone will be used to the norms, and you have to hold each other accountable. Norms don't work if no one's following them or implementing them. And think about how you can use them in your personal life as well. Whew. If you've enjoyed all of this, please let me know. You can get your free gift at drvernitafreegift.com. You can also go to Dr. Vernita Free Gifts /stash to see what's inside my vault. And you can like me on social media platforms, especially Instagram, Dr. Vernita Glenn White. And if you don't know what I do, I love working with individuals. I love working with schools, really on figuring out what the problem is that you're dealing with. Of course, my background is mathematics and curriculum and instruction and design and leadership, but it's really following, like, what is that underlayer to why we can't move to the next level, either in your career, your personal life, why you can't get your school to the next level, and things like that. And I would love to have a conversation with you. More information about that is when you go get my free gift, so we can continue this dialogue. This may be the end of the series, but that is not the end of our time together. Be on the lookout for more, and you can always reach out to me, because I love to hear what people have to say and what lessons they may have learned, or nuggets, or maybe you didn't learn anything, you just want to share something. I'm cool with that too. All right, so I am Dr. V, and thank you so much for listening and learning with me. I will catch you in the next series. So until next time, go out, be yourself, share some love, and peace out.